What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream of this week's episode of the podcast. I'm going to get things set up and we will be ready to go. Hope everyone's day is going well. Hope all is good. Rough week for me with sports. We'll dive into it, and even outside sports. Hope everyone's Thanksgiving went well. Hope everyone is good and safe, of course. Got rankings reaction live tonight, which really will be interesting after the Ohio State-Michigan game results from this weekend. Okay. Oh yeah. By the way, next week, for next week's episode, I'm gonna be having a new microphone. I was hoping to have it this week, but it did not work out that way, just due to certain things. But I will have a new mic for next week's episode of the podcast. It just was not ready to be used for this week, so we'll have to wait a week to be used. But a new mic is coming for the podcast, which is going to be much easier mic in a way to use. Just trying to figure it out. So, be another episode before I start using it. All right, let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of Betting in the Booth podcast. On this week's episode, we've got NFL weekly recap, Week 12 recap, and we've got Week 13 predictions. We've got college football rivalry weekend recap, and we've got a live college football playoff ranking reaction, which is going to come out around 7 or so Eastern. And we've got some MLB news that's come out as the offseason is officially underway for baseball. Let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 103 of Betting in the Booth podcast. Thank you so much for the support to this point. I very much do appreciate it. There was some MLB news. We are going to dive into that first, then college football, and then NFL. And at some point along the way, the college football playoff rankings, the show that will be starting very soon. Meanwhile, though, let's start off with MLB, actually. Let's go. So, few moves have been made. They officially announced that Cody Bellinger and Liam Hendricks are comeback player of the year, which makes sense. Liam coming back from cancer. Bellinger had been bad for the last few years and now finally had back to MVP forms. Made sense. But other MLB news, Kenta Maeda is no longer going to be with the Minnesota Twins, signing with the Detroit Tigers. But that's not the only pitcher the Twins have lost. Before I get to the other Twins pitcher, Kyle Gibson is also going to be a Cardinal next year. But the biggest Cardinal addition to their starting pitching from the Twins is Sonny Gray on a 3-year, $75 million deal, which good for Sonny Gray in a way. I obviously am not big because I'm a Cubs fan and it's Cardinals. But the craziest part now about the Cardinals starting pitching staff is no one on that staff is under 34 years old. The lowest is 34 and the oldest is 36 because they also brought back Lance Lynn. So it's Lance Lynn, Miles Michaelis, Steven Matz, Kyle Gibson, and now Sonny Gray. And I'll also say there was a pic going around from Gray's press conference as a Cardinal, which happened recently, where he was not looking happy to be there. there were also points where he was, but there was one pick that he just was not looking like he wanted to be there, and it was just kind of like, are we sure he's not going to regret this contract with the Cardinals? But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But now with MLB out of the way, let's dive into college football. Oh boy, this was a crazy week in a lot of ways, and also a painful week. The game, Ohio State, Michigan. Oh, interesting. Just came out. Apparently, Andre Dawson was inducted into Cooperstown in 2010, former Cub and Expo, and a whole bunch of other teams. Wants his cap to be changed from Expos to Cubs. Interesting, which is kind of sad if you're a big supporter of Expos because there's not a lot remaining of Expos nowadays. But just I throw that in there. Anyways, with college football, Ohio State, Michigan. This was Ohio State's year to really win with the whole scandal for Michigan, Jim Harbaugh not being able to coach this game, and it felt like this would be the year for them to end the streak. And what do? They don't. They lost 30-24. Michigan is off to the Big Ten championship game for the third consecutive year. This time, and for the second time in the 3 years, they are facing Iowa again. This was just rough for Ohio State, and Day's got to go at this point. 3 straight losses to Michigan and only 1 win. He's gone. He's got to go bye-bye. I didn't watch this game live because it was on Shabbos for me. But when I turned on the highlights, and I saw they started the game. I mean, it was like 8 minutes left, but like practically started the game with the INT that led to Michigan's first touchdown. I knew at that point that's why we lost. You cannot start a game with a interception thrown and expect to win a game. You're not. I'm sorry. I mean, Browns got lucky with Deshaun Watson against the Ravens, but generally you throw a pick to start a game, you ain't going to win the game. And, yeah, just an ugly loss. Iron Bowl, which was crazy. Auburn was up 24-20 coming down to the wire, and on a fourth down because of penalty and a bad snap, Jalen Milroe pulls off a 31-yard touchdown pass to Isaiah Bond, barely in bounds, as Alabama survives Auburn in Auburn 27-24, keeping their college football playoff hopes alive, though realistically, I'm not sure if they're going to win this week, and we'll get to that matchup in a moment. Kentucky upset number 10, Louisville 38-31. Iowa State upset number 19, Kansas State 42-35. Number 5, Florida State with their backup quarterback again because the starter was not injured, is out for the year. Came back from down 12-0, beat Florida 24-15. A Florida player was flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct for spitting during the game. And that is a recap for college football from this past weekend. I will give the schedule with the previous rankings if you want to update it. Well, I'm about to be announcing the updated rankings very soon enough. Anyways, and I'm going to give predictions for these conference championship games. So it starts Friday night, and I'm focusing on the Power 5 conferences, not focusing on any of the non-Power 5s because the Power 5s are the only ones that have realistic shots of making the college football playoffs. So Friday night kicks off the ones that truly matter to me and I think in general, with number 6 Oregon against number 4 Washington. This is for the Pac-12 championship game. This will be at the Raiders Stadium in Vegas. I have Washington winning this game. They've already met this year. Washington won, and I think Washington will win again, keeping their hopes alive for the college football playoffs. Saturday kicks off 12 p.m. on ABC with the Big 12 championship game in Dallas, a.k.a. Jerry's World, between number 20 Oklahoma State and number 7 Texas. I have Texas winning this game. SEC championship game, 4 p.m. on CBS from Atlanta Falcons Stadium between number 1 Georgia and number 8 Alabama. Bama's had a great run, but I don't think they're going to be able to beat Georgia. I have Georgia winning that game. Number 10 Louisville versus number 5 Florida State, 8 p.m. on ABC for the ACC championship game from the Panther Stadium. I have Florida State winning, even down to their backup quarterback. And then the Big Ten championship game, of course, is Michigan against number 2 Michigan. Well, as of right now, number 2 Michigan probably will change tonight. Well, Number 3, Michigan, but will probably change to 2 or so. Versus number 17, Iowa. 8 p.m. on Fox from the Colt Stadium. I have Michigan winning. And that's it for college football. Might as well dive into NFL while we're waiting for the CFP rankings to come out because the show hasn't even started. Still got 5 minutes. NFL weekly recap. Thanks to Deron Bland. This is the one note from the Thanksgiving games. Thanks to Deron Bland, 63-yard pick six. Bland is now first player in NFL history to record 5 pick sixes in one season. Congrats to him, which is crazy even me saying that's happened. Denver beat the Browns this week 29-12, which is the first time that score's ever happened in NFL history, aka a scoregami. Denver's also is on a 5-game win streak, which is first time since 2015. With a 10-7 Giants win over the Patriots, first time Giants beat Patriots at home since November 8th of 1987. With Bill Belichick as their defensive coordinator, they won that game 17-10. And with a 12-10 win over the Vikings, which was without the Bears getting any touchdowns, first time they've done that since October 3rd of 1993 versus the Atlanta Falcons, winning that game 6-0. My predictions record, that's it for the notes part of the recap. My predictions from last week, I went 12-4. Overall, I am... Hold on, I have to check this because this might not be fully correct. 112-68 on the year on weekly predictions for NFL. Standings update. Which, by the way, next week's rankings are going to be Sunday, which I'm not putting a live reaction to because I'm going to be at the Jets game Sunday. And I'm even missing the rankings. But it will be Sunday starting at 12 after college football conference championship games. I'm also going to be at the next game Thursday because that is my birthday. So this is also the last episode me doing at the age of 23. I will be 24 by the next time I'm recording a podcast episode. But anyways, standings up while we're still waiting for the CFP rankings show to even begin. AFC and the AFC East, Dolphins are placed at 8-3, followed by the 6-6 Bills, followed by the 4-7 Jets, followed by the 2-9 Patriots. In the AFC North, the Ravens in first place at 9-3, followed by the 7-4 Steelers and Browns, followed by the 5-6 Bengals. In the AFC South, the Jaguars in first place at 8-3, followed by the 6-5 Colts, followed by the 6-5 and Texans, followed by the 4-7 Titans. One other point I want to add about the Browns are really falling down in the dumpster. Dorian Thompson-Robinson got concussed during the game, probably going to be out this week. And by the way, I don't know what people are saying about the roughing the passer call out in Denver on DTR hit was not roughing the passer, because that obviously was. A, he drilled the heck out of him, and B, that was late. I don't know, but there's been a whole fuming. Maybe it's not that's controversial. I don't know. There's a whole fuming about it. But if people are trying to say it wasn't roughing the passer, they're absolutely wrong. And Myles Garrett also left the stadium in a sleeve, which was scary, but it's just soreness in his day-to-day, which is a huge relief for the Browns as they play the Rams this week. Anyways, back to standings update. In the AFC West, Chiefs in first place at 8-3, followed by 6-5 Broncos, followed by the 5-7 Raiders, followed by the 4-7 Chargers. That's for the AFC. For the NFC and the NFC East, Eagles in first place at 10-1, followed by 8-3 Giants, Cowboys, followed by the 4-8 Giants, followed by the 4-8 Commanders. In the NFC North, the Lions in first place at 8-3, followed by the 6-6 Vikings, followed by the 5-6 Packers, followed by the 4-8 Bears. In the NFC South, Falcons and Saints both in the same record at 5-6, followed by the 4-7 Buccaneers, followed by the 1-10 Panthers. And then the NFC West, the 49ers in first place at 8-3, followed by the 6-5 Seahawks, followed by 5-6 Rams, followed by the 2-10 Cardinals. Also, Raiders had a 14-0 lead at one point against Kansas City, but blew it in the Chiefs won in the end, 31-17. I'm pretty sure that was a score, something like that. By the way, Week 13 predictions. Thursday Night Football, Seahawks and Cowboys. This might not be interesting, but I have Dallas winning that game. Sunday kicks off. Colts at Titans. I have Titans. Chargers at Patriots. I have the Chargers. Lions at Saints. I have the Lions. Falcons at Jets, which is a game I will be at. I have the Jets. Cardinals at Steelers. I have the Steelers. Dolphins at Commanders, I have the Dolphins. Broncos at Texans, I have the Texans. Panthers at Buccaneers, I have the Buccaneers. Browns at Rams, which I will be able to watch because it's a 4 o'clock slot. Even with Browns still having hope for the playoffs, I am actually going to predict the Rams because even though there's still a lot of hope in me, I still think the Rams might come away with this one. But the Browns need it to keep their playoff hopes alive. 49ers at Eagles, I have the Eagles. Chiefs at Packers, I have the Chiefs. And then Bengals at Jaguars, I have the Jaguars. That is it for NFL for notes part of this episode. The ranking show has finally begun. So at any moment, they will start revealing the top 25 for this week. Oh, boy. Big question is going to be who's going to be 4 now with Ohio State having lost. There's not really any undefeated option, I think, left at this point. So at this point, it would be someone with a 1 loss. It'd be interesting to see who's going to be number 4. Also, interesting thing that came out this week, former Ohio State wide receiver, who I didn't even know much about prior to this coming out, really thinks that the big difference between Ohio State nowadays and the Ryan Day era versus what's called Urban Meyer eras, where like Urban Meyer would always staple at the beginning of the year the Ohio State-Michigan game, and that's what made Ohio State be hungry every year to win that game. Whereas Ryan Day seems like all the players are just taking it as another game, which it shouldn't be another game, just another regular game. It's not anywhere near just a regular game. I don't know anymore. Oh boy. Well, that's crazy. 10 years of college football playoffs. Or almost 10. Wow. Oh no, 10 years. Wow. Georgia is the first team in the AP poll era to start 12-0 in 3 straight seasons. Good for them. Okay, here we go. Kansas State is number 25, falling down 6 spots from 19. Number 24 moving up from 25 is Liberty. Number 23 moving up from 24 is Clemson. Number 22 moving up from 23 is Tulane. And still number 21 is Tennessee. That is 25 through 21. Getting right into these rankings. 20 moving down from 16 is Oregon State. Number 19 moving up from 22 is NC State. Number 18 moving up 2 from 20 is Oklahoma State. Number 17 moving up 1 from 18 is Notre Dame. Number 16 moving up from 17 is Iowa. $15 is still Arizona. Number 14 moving down from 10 is Louisville. Number 13 Number 13, moving up from 14, is LSU. Number 12, moving up from 13, is Oklahoma. Number 11, moving up from 12, is Ole Miss. Number 10, moving up from 11, is Penn State. Now they're going to slowly reveal these rankings. Number 9 is staying at 9 is Missouri. Who's number 8? Did Bama move? Bama is still number 8. That is odd. Interesting. They don't move up after the Iron Bowl craziness. Unless they want to say because they are higher ranked than Auburn, who's not even ranked, and that's why they don't move up. I don't know. All right, who's number 7? Number 7 is still Texas. Okay. But now things will definitely be changing to some extent in the top 6. So Ohio State still remains within the top 6. The question is, where is Ohio State? So Ohio State, Oregon, Florida State, Washington, Michigan, Georgia are the top 6 teams. The question is, in what order? It's kind of crazy, though, Bama didn't move. Also, what's interesting with the conference championship games this year is some of these might not be division based after this year, which a lot of them are, except for Big 12, because there's a lot of conference changings going into next year, or at least in the Big 10 and SEC. Well, really, all the conferences are going to be affected. Okay, here we go. Where are they going to be starting? Number 6, moving down from 2, is Ohio State. So Ohio State remains in the top 6, but they are at number 6, falling down 4 spots after their loss against Michigan. Who is number 5? Oh, excuse me. Well, actually, Florida State's undefeated still, so they might be 4. Number 5 is Oregon, meaning your top 6 consists of Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington to some order. Oregon moving up from 6 to 5. Who is number 4? Is number 4 Florida State? Ooh. Number 4 is Florida State, moving up from 5. So they are back in the CFP as of right now. So I presume Washington's going to be 3 now. Yep, Washington is number 3. Question is somehow Michigan going to be 1, or will it be Michigan 2, Georgia 1? I'd imagine Michigan would be 2. I doubt they're going to be number 1. Yep, Michigan is 2, which means moving up from 3, which means Georgia is still number 1. Washington also moving up from 4 to 3. So that is the official rankings, which with the new changes to CFP rankings, Oregon and Washington is 5 versus 3. Oklahoma State versus Texas is 18 versus 7. Georgia, Alabama is 1 versus 8. Louisville versus Florida State is 14 versus 4. And then Michigan, Iowa is 2 versus 16. All right, let's wrap things up. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Benny Booth Podcast. On next week's episode, we will have NFL Week 13 recap with Week 14 predictions. If there's MLB news between now and then, there will be that. And college football, college conference championship games recap with the final official rankings of who's in the CFP and who's not, and maybe some of the bowl games that will be happening around bowl season coming up in December. Thanks so much for watching and listening. If you're new on YouTube, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, leave a notification button so no notified when I go live and or post a new video. If you're new on audio, follow the podcast, leave a review, hit the notification button so notified when I post on there. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I will see you in next week's episode 104. Bye-bye!